Welcome in, Commanders family, and what a free agency it has been so far. Not only have we traded for Deebo Samuel, but we also made a deal with the Houston Texans for left tackle Laramie Tunsil. But it's not just the offense getting better, it's our defense as well. We have signed Javon Kinlaw and added him to our already potent defensive line. Now, we're excited to talk to you all about free agency, but we can't do that till next week when things are official. But until then, let's hear from the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, on how he's feeling about these moves so far. Take it away, Fred.
Thanks, Brian. And listen, I have been enjoying this free agent frenzy, and we have been in a frenzy. Like, I don't know who I'm happy about right now, because, you know, the draft guru told y'all that Deebo was going to be a player years ago, but I didn't see him putting the burgundy and gold on. Adam Peters strikes again. I think he's going to be a perfect fit. I think he's a guy that we're going to be able to do a lot with, so I'm very excited about the Deebo Samuel thing. And this still has to be pen to paper, but the Laramie Tunsil trade, it's like showing us love from the Trent Williams trade of years ago right there. And I love the Kinlaw trade, still pen to paper right there. You're talking about a mammoth of a man. I'm talking, 340, 335? I'm a big guy right there. But I'm really loving Will Harris. I think he's the addition that really changes things in the back end. So I'm really anticipating seeing him play in the Joe Whitt defense. I can't believe some of the guys we got. It's been incredible. Back to you, Brian.
Shout out to my guy, Fred Smoot. You can catch him in tomorrow's episode of Get Loud. They got a fresh episode of Get Loud for you every single Friday. Now, for today's show, it's all about our amazing defense. We take a look back at some of the best moments from Joe Whitt Jr.'s first time as a defensive coordinator and how good our defense looked. Then, the prospect professor, Logan Paulson, gets in the film room to look at some of our defensive plays from last season. And then speaking of plays, it's all about the highlights. Our producers pick 5 of their favorite highlights from our defense. And Commanders family, it all starts right now on Command Center. Commanders family, welcome back into Command Center. Brian Cole Jr. here with Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and Logan Paulson. And yes, we are in the same clothes, but it's because we are doing part 2 of our special rap feature. Now, if you're not like Logan and you have listened to music before, you are familiar with the Music Apps Rap, where every year you get to see your best music, your favorite music, your highlights of all the music you got to listen to. Well, we're doing that now. We did it with Offense last week. Go check it out on the Commanders YouTube page. And now we are focused in on the defense. Tanner, before we get started, there's so many moments that come to mind when you think about our defense in the year that they had. Yeah. What moment pops up into your head?
Arizona. I thought, look, going into that game against Arizona, all I could think about, Kyler Murray doing the things he do. Yeah. The little leprechaun running around, finding a way to make something happen. The way they contain him, we talk about containing quarterbacks ad nauseum about these quarterbacks who can actually use their legs. They contained him. They shut him down. They put it was a 30-something to I can't think of the scope, but we really blew that game wide open because our defensive play and turning over the football. So I think that's the first moment that pops up in my head when we're talking about a stiff defense.
Yeah, and for me, it's got to be the playoff game against Detroit, man. The ability to show up, turn the football over the way they did, create pressure the way they did in the biggest moment in that hostile environment. Like, that really turned. I mean, obviously our offense did a great job, but for them to kind of come support that group and play that team game and live what Dan Quinn's been talking about all year, get the ball out, ball is life. I thought that was a really special moment.
Well, you know, I think guys that play in the NFL, name that start with F, they're pretty much a dominant player. So Frankie Louvu most definitely going to be on my list. I think the play he made against Cleveland, like me and him have debated, is it a fumble recovery? Is it an interception? It's just such a great line right there. Yeah. But when you want to talk about Johnny on the spot right there, and that ain't just a Frankie Louvu play, that's a us play. Yeah. So in the defensive room, when we watched it, that's all we made that play, and all of us get a high grade for that.
And fellas, it is hard to be in that situation where you got to pick just one play. Our amazing producers picked us 5 plays from our defense that I think y'all are really going to enjoy. Let's get right into it. It's time for your top 5, presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890, Fred. And you're going to love this because these highlights are all about the defense. And you mentioned Frankie Louvu. Let's go ahead and start with our guy, Frankie Louvu. And this is against the Philadelphia Eagles right here.
Yeah, just giving these Super Bowl champions a little preview of what the future is going to look like. It's going to look like a lot of Bobby Wagner and a lot of Frankie Louvu. Know where you're going with the ball. Jalen throws that blindly. Thank you. We'll take gifts.
I just love the fact that he's a guy that not only can he get after the quarterback, he can play mind games with him too. You know what I mean? He showed him one thing. He go out to the flats, then came, showed back up, and made the interception. That was a superb play by a great linebacker.
And I think this play right here shows the versatility of not only him, but this defense. And we have some more versatile plays because somebody else that got to show their versatility a little bit. Our boy Fowler with his first career. You see that logo?
Look at this big grown man right there. That's what you look at. Look at his head. Like, you know when you see an 18-wheeler driving down the highway, that's what that looks like. That shows that we're all in this together. You need a chaperone to the party? How about I do it? It's playing right there.
That don't look like a big pass rusher running down there. Those two boys look very, very fast. But you know what, Fred? Talking pick sixes, you got to show some love to the secondary. Quan Martin got his first career pick six, and let me tell you what a time to do it, Fred.
Way to do it in Motown. We went to Detroit, and we beat up Mr. Ford and everybody else in the city of Detroit. This was a defensive game by far right there. And that right there with Frankie Louis did, that's the stamp right there that makes sure the letter get mailed.
And this play right here is a great example of how great our secondary was. And a big part of our secondary success was our rookie cornerback, Mikey Sanderson. He got a nice pick. And we can pick off Lamar Jackson. I know you're feeling good.
Pick off Lamar, but just don't get tackled by Lamar. I mean, I understand he's one of those not so ordinary quarterbacks, but I still ain't letting Lamar tackle.
Lamar played a little DB in this game.
Just how opportunistic he was all year, man. And just his ball skills, tremendous asset to this defense.
This when he proved to us he could play on the outside. This was the game he made that known. I cannot just play nickel. I'm outside corner also.
And Logan, during our production meeting, you expressed that this is the most exciting play you saw all season. It's Bobby Wagner's fumble recovery.
No. This is my play.
Y'all are just wanting to say to me.
Just the same person. But this play right here, I wasn't sure, was this an interception or a fumble recovery? And this is team defense at its finest right there. I go secure the quarterback, you secure the ball, let's get the ball, give it back to our offense right here. This is team right here. Wagner, I'm here in class, so am I, Frankie Little. This is shit that they letting you know right now. They came to play. I love this play.
Fellas, man, we could sit and watch defensive plays all day. Shout out to our producers for picking amazing plays. And since we couldn't fit everything in, our Amazing Features team put together a little package showing just how dynamic our defense was.
Shimmies to the 10 and gets blasted by Torrance Armstrong. 18 up to the slot. Oilers, that spelled out perfectly. Hit by Torrance Armstrong! Sacked! It's intercepted. Picked off by Quan Martin. Oh, it's intercepted in the end zone. Picked off by Dante Fowler. Touchdown, Washington! Intercepted. Then it's picked off by Frankie Louvu. It got blocked. Picked up by Washington. They're running the other way. And the ball's out. Just right from his hand.
It's time for your winning numbers presented by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. Now, this is who led our team in tackles in the 2024 season. No surprise, 5'4", Bobby Wagner with 132 total tackles. Frankie Louvu had 99, and then the rookie, Mikey Sanderson, that boy know how to wrap up. He had 93 total tackles. What a year for our guys. Fellas, you see those numbers. Our linebackers and defensive backs, they got it done. Let's start with the linebackers because we got two new guys. Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner came in and set the tone for this defense immediately. A dynamic duo, Logan, much like you and Fred Smoot. Talk about the way that they were able to impact this defense, even though they were first-year guys here.
Yeah, I mean, I think like their impact is like it's hard to overstate their impact. Obviously, Bobby's leadership is tremendous, right? His ability to kind of get and to play the game before the ball is snapped. I also thought that was really special, right? Player. Understanding the defense, understanding what Dan Quinn, Joe Whitt Jr. want, getting everybody lined up, like it was masterful. He really did a tremendous job of that. And then Frankie Louvu's ability to just kind of be that ultimate just joker in the deck, right? I'm going to blitz, I'm going to do this, I'm going to time the snap up, I can line up in multiple spots. Gave them so much flexibility schematically. So again, the mind of Bobby, the physicality, the kind of flexibility of Bobby, it gave the defense its character. I think that's what makes it so special, that tandem.
If I could write a book, I would name it The Yellow Jacket and the Tasmanian devil.
Because it's a holiday. Okay, yellow, yeah.
The
I
yellow
thought
jacket.
you were talking beef for a
No,
second.
no. The yellow jacket and the Tasmanian devils, the adventure of Tom Sawyer. Because what these guys.
Tom Sawyer?
Why? Because they had to go through the woods. He had to take on challenges. And we had to go through the woods. And sometimes you'll run into a Bengal. All right? Sometimes you'll run into a giant. And when you got the answer for these things, it makes the job easier. Like, think about this. One thing I can say about Frankie Louvu, if you're a defense, you have to account for him because he's pretty good in coverage. Yeah. He's pretty good at the line of scrimmage. He's pretty good run stopping. And listen, I got so many memes sent to me after he jumped over Philadelphia line 17 times. Like, it made the season entertaining. And Logan is completely right. When you got Bobby Wagner playing this chess match with the quarterback back and forth, putting you into the right position, it sets all us up for success. But most definitely the guy, his running mate right beside him, Frankie Louvu, gives him the right to just cause destruction. And I think that's what made this team great.
Logan, he made that analogy work. He found a way to bring it together.
He kind of stumbled into it, and I was like, where are we going? We got bees, we got Giants, Bengals, and here we are. Just playing perfectly.
And Ted, I'm going to let you talk about Louvu because I know there was one thing you always were excited seeing him fly all around the field. Talk about Louvu a little bit.
And I was the one that stamped the task.
Yes, for sure.
So I appreciate you for giving me a little, what I mean?
Said credit with no credit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I said Jedi.
He put it out there. Nah, but Louvu was special. Watching that Dallas team for so many years, the last few years, you can say, when Quinn was over there, I was wondering, will we have a guy on our team that gives us that Michael Parsons effect, effect. And that was Louvu. He was a guy that I watched highly over there in Carolina a year ago, and I thought, like, can he be that same guy this year for us? I think he outdid himself.
He did.
Like, he set the bar so high right now. I'm like, I'm seeing him working out already, and I'm like, oh, that's why he comes the way he comes, because he puts the work in. And I just love the fire about him, his energy. Like, I saw in the playoffs when he came out hobbled one game. He had all the little black tape around his leg, and I'm like, oh man, this doesn't mean Louvu's not going to be Louvu. And bro, when that whistle blew, when that game started, he was the same guy. So it just shows you, man,
mentality.
He cares less about what's going on. When he's between those white lines, he's a different dude, man. And I love him for our team.
And Tanny, you talk about setting the bar high. Fred, it's not every day that a rookie comes in and sets the bar for the entire room. Yeah. But that's what Mikey Sanders still did. Yeah. I had a feeling he was going to be special when I heard he reached out to you unprompted right after he got drafted just to get some game.
Why did he reach out to you?
Did Fred tell you that?
Fred noticed that. I did confirm it with Mikey Sanders, so he did reach out to
He
Fred.
wanted the Midas touch. Everything I touch turns to gold. All right? So I told him, you know what? You will be the best rookie drafted Washington corner since me. And it too came to pass because this guy understands football.
It too came to pass.
It too came to pass. Now let me also tell you this. When Nick Saban got on national TV in the draft and said, while y'all playing around, Washington just drafted pound for pound the best defensive player in the draft. I was like, come on, coach. That's a really large statement. And when I got a chance to meet him and talk to him and understand his football IQ and all the work that he put in, I said, this rookie right here won't play like a rookie. Don't forget this. He coming off a national championship and went to the NFC championship. He's a championship football player with championship IQ.
Looked very, very impressive, and we got to give a lot of love to Joe Whitt Jr. He not only improved our secondary, but he also improved our pass rush. So now let's give them big boys in the trenches some love. Time to secure the W, presented by Hercules Fence. Security in every job. Now, let's check out some of the members of our defense who helped secure the dub this season. Dante Fowler had a career year with 10.5 sacks. Then Frankie Louvu got it done with 8. Dorrance Armstrong looked strong with 5 sacks. And then 94, Deron Payne had 4 sacks. Let's get right into showing these guys some love. Now, we talk about that pass rush right there. I think that was a big question mark coming in. Last year, we traded some guys away. This year, we brought in a ton of new guys. We didn't know how they'd look, didn't know how they mesh. However, Dan Quinn had a plan, Joe Whitt Jr. had a plan, and it worked out. Logan, when you look at our pass rush this year and how effective it was, Were you impressed by that, and were you surprised by that?
No, I wasn't impressed. No, of course I was impressed. I think everyone always says, like, everyone's like, oh, what are we going to do? We lost these people that were here last year, these kind of dominant edge rushers. But what I think they did is they identified people that have that knack for rushing the passes, that understand when to take chances, how to rush as a group. I think that was another thing. When you go back and watch the film, it's 4 guys rushing together. I think Whitt Jr. deserves a ton of credit for his pressure packages on 3rd down, deploying Frankie Louvu, finding matchups. Bobby Wagner as a blitzer. All those things kind of coalesced to make a group of 4 rushers, really 8, because we had such a deep rotation of guys that could get after the quarterback. So schematically, finding the right people, it all kind of worked together in this melting pot and led to that really productive pass rushing season.
Yeah, he's totally right about them rushing as a group. Rushing as a group.
All real good today.
No. You know what? He's not right much. But I'll say this. They did rush as a group, and that's why I was not in love with like individual stats, because if I'm rushing from the right and pushing him that way, I'm pushing him into your lap, you're going to receive the sack and get the numbers, but I won't get nothing but a rush out hurry. So watching them do that, especially how they started at the beginning of the year, every game you could see them grow as a group. Every game somebody else made a play. They had a knack for getting around the ball, and then when you add Frankie Louvu to that rush, now it gives them time to win their one-on-one individual matchup, but hopefully next year we won't have to blitz as much and play a little bit more coverage behind it.
Yeah, I mean, they played in unison, and I think that's, to me, that was the big picture of why they were so successful defensively. For so many years, you get used to just seeing the same thing, the 2 edge rushers getting after the quarterback, and then we getting out behind killed because the quarterback is able to step in the pocket or replace that lane that they left wide open. And now you saw this defense this year. In year 1, that found themselves, finding their way throughout the season and coming up with different packages, bringing in Fowler on certain plays to set the tone. The defense just played together, and that's what you need. When you see the successful defenses of this league that take it far into the postseason, it's because they're playing as one, and that's what I saw from our defense this year.
And Logan, we mentioned Mike Sanderson on the level he played at, but we also had 2 rookies that took a little while to get along, but however they made their impact. Johnny Newton, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, both guys that were able to make an impact. When you look at that film, how did they fare, especially towards the back end of the season when we were in playoff competition?
Well, I think it's crazy because they both kind of were navigating injuries the whole year, right? And for them to be as effective as they were, specifically Jean-Baptiste, who's a 7th-round pick to be that effective. And again, like, he had some really dominant power rushes, played the run well. And Johnny Newton, the quickness, the explosiveness, that dog mentality, it's all there. So, again, going into year 2 with those guys, that's an exciting proposition.
Future looks bright when you got guys like that.
And all of these guys that we've mentioned have made for some impressive defensive numbers. Let's take a look at our defensive averages from this past season. Now, these are the 2024 season averages for our Washington Commanders. The one I really want to point out is that passing yards per game. That ranked 3rd in the entire NFL. Points against per game, that was 18th. Total yards against per game, that was 13th. Our defense looks strong, and they're only going to get better under Whitt Jr. Now, I'm going to step out the way, and we're going to send it over to Logan Paulson in the film room. It's time for your can't miss moment, presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders.
All right, let's talk about the defense. Defensive review in 2024. And one of the things about this defense that I absolutely loved was how opportunistic they were. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. So here, this is a first down, this play action pass. We got all these tight ends in here, right? It looks like they're going to run the football in this game. I don't know if you remember, but the Giants were pounding the football down the field, right? So this is a run formation. But watch our guy Fowler here. He does a great job of identifying immediately that it's a pass, right? Watch this tackle, how he gets vertical off the ball. You see how he gets depth? You see that tackle get off the line of scrimmage? Fowler does a great job identifying it right now, taking advantage of an opportunity to kind of get a sack here. Great job getting the ball out. This is Washington Commanders ball, but I think this is a really good example of, hey, this is not going super well for us defensively, but hey, we've got an opportunity. I identify the moment and I seize it and take advantage of it. Exactly what I'm talking about. And that ball's out and it allows them to get the ball back to the offense, which was fantastic this year, as we talked about last week. So this is another example, right? Taking advantage of these opportunities. So this is going to be a trick play by the Philadelphia Eagles. It's like kind of a little flea flicker, Hail Mary type setup. They're going to do a little bit of motion, little eye candy, all this stuff. Pitch the ball back, get it back to the quarterback, right? And it ends up being a huge tackle for a loss. Why does that happen? First off, it's a great job by Frankie Louvu understanding his role in the defense. So here, let's pause that real quick. So he's on a blitz here. He's coming up here on the top of the screen. He's attacking this guy. It would be so easy for him to get distracted by all of this eye candy working in the backfield, right? He does a great job staying the course, being aggressive, and these are the moments that you have to take advantage of. When the tackle, when the offensive line, when the tight end's not ready for you to continue to rush, you got to take advantage of it. The other thing I want to point out here too, look at the coverage. Look at these guys. Even though there's this trick play and there's all this action in the backfield, these guys stayed home, allowing Frankie to get home. And again, this was a huge play in this game because it pushed them out of field goal range and gave us an opportunity to keep points off the board, which is fantastic. So again, being opportunistic, not falling for the eye candy, understanding that this is a big moment and staying the course, understanding your role in the defensive scheme is incredibly important. The other thing I love about this group is their ability to defend every blade of grass. Here's a little run to the offensive right here. Back goes here. A little bit of a hold here, and the ball gets to the second level, but watch your guy, Quan Martin. Watch number 20 here. Watch how he fits this tackle. That is about as good a tackle as you're going to see in the NFL, right? We're going same foot, same shoulder, right? He's coming here, ball carries here. I'm going to lead with this foot, strike with this shoulder, big collision. Love to see that kind of aggressiveness. We're defending every ounce of this field, every inch of this field. And again, he gets the ball out. Him and Jeremy Chin kind of fit this up together. And that is what you're talking about. A group that, hey, we can create sacks. We can create pressures. We can fight for field position. And in the biggest moments, we can make big tackles, make big plays, get the ball out. And again, were they the most statistically efficient group this year? Probably not. But they were able to take advantage of these moments because they played physical, they played fast, and they did it for 4 quarters. And I can't wait to see what this group looks like as they get more talent in the back end, as they get more talent overall in this group. So love it. Can't wait to watch what they do in 2025.
Shout out to the prospect, Professor Logan Paulson, for holding it down. Now, it's time for the best seat in the house, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing? A ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
DQ Dan, he talked about the way you teach tackling and being not just tacklers in the box, but being great tacklers in space.
Space.
That part of it. How do you go about teaching that?
This is a space game now, because when you guys played, the middle of the field was closed. Yeah. So receivers really had to have some
get up and go,
to go in there across the middle of the field. So now that the middle of the field is open, you have to get longer players. You have to get guys that have short area quickness to break down in space. But we're a leverage-based shoulder tackling team, and understanding that if I miss, I have multiple guys running to the ball. We're going to hunt the football. And like I just told the staff in there, the way we live is not for everybody, all right? And so understand what I'm saying. It is not for everybody the way that we're going to get down, all right? So if you don't want to hunt the ball, if you don't want to go and play with a level of tenacity that's second to none, well, this ain't the defense for you, because we're going to go run and hit people. We might not do anything else, all right? But we're going to run, hit people, and get the ball. I can tell you we're going to do that, all right? And now, from schematically and doing the right things and all that, we'll get to that, but we have to play a certain way, and that's how we're going to play.
First of all, I could have played coach.
It's crazy. Even watching that interview right now, I remember all of us in studio looking at each other and saying, we have something special here in Joe Whitt Jr. And if this interview wasn't enough, his resume does the trick. He got his career started as an assistant defensive backs coach with the Atlanta Falcons, and from there has just seen so much success. Part of one of the better defenses in the Green Bay Packers, the Seattle Seahawks, the Atlanta Falcons, and of course the Dallas Cowboys, where he was at previously. We are so lucky to have a guy like Joe Whitt Jr. because this resume is extremely impressive.
What a memorable season it was for us Commanders family. Thank you for being a part of our 2024 Command Center Wrap. Not only the offense, but the defense as well. Next week, we are so excited to get into all of these signings. We're talking signings, trades, we're bringing guys back, and maybe we have some new guys on the way. We will cover all that in next week's Command Center. And remember, we still have podcasts for you. We have the Ticket to the Draft podcast. We have the award-winning Command Center podcast. And then, of course, we have the Get Loud podcast, which will air on Fridays moving forward. And then we also have exclusive interviews that'll be all under the Next Man Up umbrella. We're talking about one-on-one interviews with coaches, players, and maybe even some legends. For Logan Paulson, Fred Smoot, Santana Moss, and Brian Colbert Jr., this is Command Center. What a season it's been. We will see y'all next week as we move forward to the 2025 season.